morning, Father.
It's an honor to be
It's a happy day anyway.
I'm going to give you a quick history about the Semendrians, but we're also going to ask some questions about their first memories of St. George, which I think you'll find very interesting, very exciting. So I want to thank my mom, Shirley Potter. I want to thank Eva Pavlovich and Penny Paris for their help. My cousin George Cantor, my brother. Melissa Pardalis for her help today, and Dana Nicholas, because she has been instrumental in putting together an amazing display in the library. And I would encourage you to go look at the exhibit. It's very special. And it's not quite complete, but after you're done today, if you have a couple of minutes or another Sunday, please go and see what they have, what she has prepared. So in any case, I'm going to give you a quick history, and then, like I said, we'll go ahead and ask these very special people here some questions. So about 100, and I want to first of all also thank Father John Edmundouris, because he helped me prepare some of this information today. So we have Semendrian. First of all, Semendrian, the word means belt. I don't know if you're aware of that. Some of the Semendrians didn't even know that. But the word belt means belt. All right. 100 years ago, our grandparents and their fellow villagers, together with all the Christian communities of Asia Minor, which is now modern-day Turkey, were forcibly evacuated from their ancestral homes by the leader of the Republic of Turkey. It was an attempt to rid Turkey of the problem of its Christian minorities. As you're aware, our grandparents decided to come to Eastern Michigan. Many of them came before the exchange of populations, but most of them all returned to Greece after the exchange to find brides and to start their new lives in America, and we are their descendants. Who were these people? What were their roots? While scientists and DNA facilities are helping us decipher our origins, one thing is for certain: they were forcibly removed from their ancestral homes, and they had to abandon all of their possessions, including their places of worship, their homes, and their businesses, and they came to America. One aspect of their new transplanted life in America was the continuation of their faith, and so they included as a priority their Orthodox house of worship. Papa Gregory Iliadis was born in Cappadocia. He was made a priest and one of those who helped form, among other things, the Church of St. George. He helped them together as a community, both spiritually, attending to their spiritual needs, and their cultural heritage. Of utmost importance was the inheritance and legacy of the 5 martyrs, the patrons of our village. George, would you mind grabbing the icon of the 5 martyrs that we have on our display? These Roman soldiers were put to death under the pagan years of the Roman Empire and had been buried in our Asia Minor village since 296 AD. When we were forcibly removed, the priests of the village were diligent in bringing the relics of the Holy 5 martyrs with them to Greece. These relics can be found in Greece and in the United States. The Parish Council of St. George and the rebuilding and the relocation of St. George from downtown Pontiac to Bloomfield, Michigan, allotted for a chapel. So we have a chapel here. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Dedicated to the Holy 5 Martyrs. George has the icon here of the 5 Martyrs. It did become a storage area for a while, but Demetrius Asen and Eugene Ryson were among the descendants who pushed for making this chapel what it is today here at St. George. So if you have a chance, if you haven't visited our chapel, or you haven't visited in a long time, I would encourage you to do so. So many other descendants helped in various ways in safeguarding the stability of St. George and the community. They've worked with festivals, they've been leading the community as parish council members. This community is well aware of those who help step up and work for the betterment of our church. Tom Nicholas, who has sponsored for years his Cafe Night, featuring Haji Kazarian and Richard Hagopian, most renowned musicians playing Turkish, Greek, and Armenian music. Tommy dazzled us with Asia Minor delicacies made by the hands of our grandmothers. Also of honorable mention, the organizer of the Semendrian reunion in 1999, King Nicholas. It was one of those rare occasions where so many descendants from Semendra had gathered together. People from Florida, California, Arizona, Chicago, and all over Michigan came for a day of fellowship and recalling events of the past. Many of our grandmothers were still with us at that time, but it was a wonderful event. Our immigrant grandparents were an amazing group of Christians. They continued with their chapter of the Semendrian Benevolent Society here in America, and collectively they sent money back to our refugee village in Greece, which is now Nea Simandra. So if you go, we've been many times, my brother and I, but we have Nea Simandra, which is just about 40 minutes outside of Thessaloniki. But it was because of this society that we have, they created, they built a school, the church, and the medical clinic, as well as a soccer field. That was because of the Semendrians here in America. Hopefully, within a short time, without any specific deadline, Father Jonathan Dulis plans to publish a translation of an account of the martyrdom of the Holy Five Martyrs, and a collection of genealogy charts. And he started doing these in 1974. It's not complete, but we're going to ask that everyone who has any sort of family tree or anything like that to work with Jonathan Dulis, and so that he can complete this project. So he hopes to publish these charts as part of the book. And if you have any questions, please see me or Father Jonathan Dulis. May the memory of our dear grandfathers and grandmothers live in our hearts. May we never stop to be grateful of their sacrifice and hard work in coming to America and procuring a better life for all of us. May we be mindful of the carefree years when as children we played together while the old timers planned pinnacle and the yayas would cook their delicious meals and picnics, and they would volunteer at the festivals. May we always honor the five martyrs who are spiritual protectors. Amen. I don't know if you've all seen this big photograph that's in the hall when you come from the church into the hall here, into the hall. But there are some pictures, and there's one picture in particular where there are some children on their knees in the very front rows. Look at the picture. Well, these are the children that are in that picture. The children of the founders of our church. So at this time, I'm going to ask them a few questions about their memories of the first St. George, and some of them are a little bashful, but that's okay. First of all, I'm going to just take the microphone, we'll pass it around. And the question is have you been to Semendra in Turkey, and what do you remember about it? Have you been? Have you been to Semendra in Turkey? Has anyone here been to the village in Semendra, Turkey? No. Has anyone here been to Nea Simandra in Thessaloniki? Yes. Raise your hand. Would you like to share with us a little bit about what you know of the village?
Well, the village is a village. It really is a village. But the people there are so kind. And they could love you to death. They would overtake you. They didn't understand why we didn't want to spend all our time in Greece or near Semendra. And so we did, and much to the chagrin of others, we had to cut our trip a little shorter than what we planned on. And I see Melissa nodding her head, and I wanted to ask you, is that your mom's wedding gown?
No, that was my yaya. That was my yaya Gary gave me that. Now I don't know if she wore it or or
Or I think
someone
Kathleen
else's.
wore it at one time. That's beautiful. That is just beautiful. And so,
See this dress?
to you.
The dress?
That's beautiful.
A little bit about this costume, this dress. I was told that when a daughter was born, when a girl was born into a family, they would start embroidery. It would take them years and years to complete this embroidery. So it's really special that we have this. Thanks to Melissa for bringing this costume. And we both worn it at a dance performance.
It's just beautiful.
I have something that I wanted to share. In Semendrian, I know that my mom and I, every time we'd go to the cemetery, and I would see all of these headstones with families from St. George. And I said, oh my gosh, that's so-and-so. Oh my gosh, there's so-and-so. Oh my gosh, that's so-and-so. And I said, that's amazing, like, that I know their great-grandchildren. I grew up with their grandchildren, great-grandchildren. And it was just really neat to see, I have to say that.
Hey, I give you all the kudos. Yes, I do, because of you that we are doing this today.
And I have to say, I'm sorry I didn't let everyone introduce themselves. So if I could do that right now, I'm so sorry. I should have done that in the beginning. That's okay. You say your name, your first and last name.
Helen Thomas. Who were you before Helen Thomas?
Yeah, who were you before?
Elias.
Helen Elias. I was sure. Yeah.
I was Athanasiadou.
I was Gregory. But if I may add, my father took the name Gregory, which was the first name of my grandfather, Gregorius. When he came through on this island, and my grandfather was the first priest in St. George.
Bapu.
Father Gregorius Elianis.
Yes.
I'm Sophia. My last name was Athanasiadou. That's my sister.
You're lucky.
Hold the microphone. Hold it closer
Hold it closer.
to your mouth.
And my father was a Psalti at St. George when we were on the hill.
And Mariah.
Yeah, and Mariah. And he helped to bring this St. George to what it is now. And as far as the village goes, I was amazed at what I saw. I mean, it had a little court, it's a courtyard. It wasn't little, it was pretty big. Had stores there, had restaurants, and the people would gather there and just enjoy themselves. That was
Every night.
nice, yeah. But unfortunately, we didn't get to go to Turkey to see where
Ephesus.
Ephesus, yeah. We saw
Well, I
Ephesus.
saw Ephesus.
But we didn't see Semendrian.
That's
But,
500 miles from Ephesus.
huh?
That's 500 miles from Ephesus.
I know, because we asked the tour guide if we could go, and he said, you'll have to find your way.
That's right.
So, but I am proud of what our ancestors did. I think about it and I think, could I do what they did? They left their home, everything they knew, they left and came here and made a life for themselves. I'm really proud of that. Oh, I won't say it. I was going to say something, but I won't say it.
No, don't say it.
It's not nice.
Next. We do have some more questions for all of you, but go ahead and tell us what you know of the village. You don't?
You know a lot.
Do you know anything about the village?
Well, you haven't introduced
You were
yourself
never-
yet.
Oh, introduce yourself.
Say your name.
Yakovidis,
First name?
Dimitri.
My name's Ernie Savas,
That's my cousin.
and Muscola and Sophie are my first cousins. And I would want to tell you a story that my grandfather on my father's side,
Oh, yeah.
came to this country in the early 1900s with two other people, thinking that they were told that the streets were paved to gold. Of course, they weren't quite that way, but they were a lot better than what Semendrian was. And they came here and they went out west to Tacoma, Washington, and he sent his two sons, my two uncles, to Tacoma, and they worked in a hotel. And they eventually came to Detroit because Henry Ford was starting the auto industry, and there was a lot more work here than there was in Washington. And they came, and my dad came in 1920. After they came, they sponsored me. But my last name is not Savas. That was my grandfather's first name, Sava. My last name in Greek is Peponides.
Yes. Yes.
And you know, our grandfather on mother's side, on the matriarch side, he landed in on the West Coast.
Yes.
He worked on the railroad,
Okay.
and he went to Greece. He went to Greece to bring back his sons. Well, the sons came, but he didn't, and they landed in Detroit. That's how we're here.
Yeah.
I had a great uncle.
Let's see, Sophie. I just wanted to say one more thing. That all the people up here right now are first generations.
Yes.
That meaning their parents were born in Europe. So we're all first generations, and there's many more. Gus Nicholas, Kay, my nieces and nephews, me. George here,
And well, he's first generation.
and he's first generation, yes.
Generation, Tony's first generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know that the church, the center of your life. How much time did you spend at St. George growing up? And tell us what you know, your memories of St. George as a child.
Church.
About the church, St. George, your memories. When you were a child.
I remember coming to church on Mariva Street. On Mariva Street, and we'd have to go to church every Sunday, wear a hat. And then I was in the choir, sang in the choir in the front part of the church. And then we moved to the back.
Yeah.
I'm not from here.
How much time did you spend in church?
From Detroit.
Spent a lot of time in the church. We had increased school on Tuesday and Thursday, and one day we had choir practice. We actually lived in the church.
We did.
But I remember when I was a little girl in Howard and school, a picture up there on the counter were the little kids in the front. And we used to meet in the basement of the old church. There was a hall next to the church, and we used to go down there, and our dads would try to raise money to build this church. And I remember distinctly, at that time, probably $100, it was probably $1,000, but all the men would go up after the dinner and slap $100 on the table. I remember my dad doing that. And it was, we used to have the older kids, after we ate, the older kids were always up in the Greek school room, and you had to be 12, and I thought, I'll never be 12. And so after that, I finally got to that age, and I was so excited. Then they turned the age to 13.
1938?
We've all got
Cut my hair.
talent. It was good. Sophie. And
That was wonderful.
Anything else you want to share about your childhood at St. George growing up?
That was a long time ago.
You covered a lot.
Before the war.
What I remember about my childhood is my children. What was instilled in me, I'm very fortunate to have instilled in my children. And they are here to attest to that. And I am here to attest to that because I don't have, where I live is out in Brighton. And not that I'm tooting my own horn, but I am a little bit. But my kids, Zach said to me, "Don't worry about it, Mom. I'll be there bright and early." Well, I don't know how bright he was. He was early. and my Joanna and my Dana. And unfortunately, she can't be here. But what I tried to say was, my children, they go, "Oh, we know. You're going to the church. We know. You are going to the church." Whatever the function may have been, but they just knew that they were going to the church. And that's, I hope, the way I raised them.
I'd like to interject something a little bit off that. So, first of all, when Ernie mentioned that his ancestors were in Tacoma, Washington, that's where the very first organization called the Semendrian Brotherhood and Benevolent Society was formed in 1913.
Wow.
So that was where your grandfather, they must have been the ones that started.
They started it,
Okay,
yes.
and then they started it here. I'm not sure if it was in the 30s or 40s. And the Benevolent Society, of course, was a philanthropic group, and they did give monies to other groups. Anyway, but they did, all the Semendrians here focused on a better life, of course. They were dedicated to their families. They were dedicated to creating the church and remembering their roots, of course, and then foremost, love of their new country, the United States of America. And they had their businesses. Most of them had small grocery stores.
In Pontiac?
In Pontiac. They were on grocery stores. And they helped each other. When one of them needed something, they were there to help each other.
Detroit, they had restaurants.
And in Detroit, the Semendrians opened up restaurants. Okay. So those are some of the things that information that I gathered. And also, in the library with the displays, you're going to find some documents there, and I think the translation is there. But one of them was given from the King of Greece to the Benevolent Society of the Semendrians, and to acknowledge them and to recognize them as this group. And then there's also a thank you note from the Semendrians in the new village, thanking them for the school, the church, and the soccer field. And also, I would like to point out one thing. There is a stone monument close to the entrance of St. George, which has all the names of our parents, of which we're very proud. Thank you.
So there's that, and also we have, when you pull into the church, if you ever GPS anything trying to leave here, it'll say Semendrian Boulevard. Under GPS, Tom Nicholas was instrumental in having that done. Would you like to tell us anything about your childhood here at St. George?
Oh, I've got many things.
Okay.
Just don't get it started.
My childhood at the church, when we were little, we used to walk from home to the church, and it was, about 10 miles?
Oh, yeah.
We walked for church, we walked for Greek school, and they had also a band. I was in an orchestra. Nick Drakus was the conductor, and I played the violin in an orchestra. And then when Father Harmon came, he started a group. We all played mandolins or guitars. I mean, all of us. It wasn't just me. All of us. We used to play. And that was our life. This is what we did. Our social life, everything. Even our love life was there.
You will marry a Semendrian. You will marry a Greek. Then you will marry, right?
Yeah, that's the question.
How many of you walked to the church? Did you all walk to church?
We took bus transfers
You took
all
bus
across the city.
Yeah, it was.
But you got here.
Yeah. And it was today. Well, we spoil our kids. And I can say I was one of them, but we did. Oh no, you can't walk. That's too far. Come on, I'll take you. Our life was dedicated to transferring the children back and forth, but our parents couldn't because they worked. They couldn't leave their businesses, and so if we wanted to be a part of the social part of church, we had to walk. And the weather, whether it rained, snowed, whatever, we walked. Today, don't ask me to walk anywhere. But it was, my childhood was it had its sober moments, but it was a delight. I mean, I think about it now and I think,
My kids.
yeah, even though we were called immigrants, we were looked down on.
Yeah.
So many times. But we overcame it. And this is what we did. We built this church. And we're proud.
Did you want to tell us a little bit about Father Hamandas, the priest that you grew up with? Tell us a little bit about him.
Father Harmandas.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I didn't know at the time he was 27. I didn't find that out until he was maybe 95 or something. And he used to take us swimming, and he took us to the Shrine of the Little Flower. We'd get in the car, pack up a couple of the cars and go there. And of course, he was the Greek school teacher, and I think because we were foreigners, you know, he would make us speak in English. And one day I asked him, can I sharpen my pencil? And he said, what? And I said, can I sharpen my pencil? And he said, bueno, I've never forgotten that. I just wanted to say that my father was a sculptor. He didn't do it for a living, but he built a cross that was in the church, at the old church, and I don't know what happened to it. It's so sad because I watched him as he made it into a cross. And when he took a little file and all that white stuff with marble was in his hair. And he also built the bishop's chair. I don't know whatever happened to that. The old, yeah. And I just want to say that Alan, Sophie knows I'm going to say this. She and my sister used to play the violin together. And her family used to visit mine quite often. And they'd take out the violins, they were like 15 or something, and made them play. That was our entertainment.
It was before television.
Yeah.
Before TV.
Yeah, way before.
Would you like to tell us about your memories of the early days?
You are having
The early days. I didn't walk to church, but there were many nights after Greek school we would stay behind and play basketball.
Yeah.
And the buses stopped running around 9 o'clock, and I had to walk home, but not walk to church.
It was a long way.
And it was a couple, 3 miles, but it was safe back then, and it's safe today, but you just be careful.
Oh, come on now, tell the truth.
The winter time, I remember.
The people that I came to church with were very close friends with my mother and father. And from there, all the younger kids my age, or a year older, a year less, I call them all cousins, even though they weren't, but we were like cousins. And we stuck together and still friends to this day.
That's wonderful.
In 1938, I think it was, or 36, Bishop Athinagoras came to this church on Mariva Street, and he cut my hair because I was in the altar.
You know how they take lots.
Then he became patriarch of Constantinople. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Athinagoras?
Athinagoras.
Oh, okay. Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm sure. You're older than I am. You should know.
2 months older than him.
When we went to Greek school here, we went from my house to Greek school to the church walking. From there, we would walk to the store that my dad had.
Yeah.
And when it was snowing, the thing was 3 or 4 feet high. I mean, it was deep, and we would walk it. In those days, the snow was real deep. Now it's nothing. I was surprised. So,
You get a day off.
so we had a great time walking and everything with my brother. Abe and I would be walking. I'd take him. Yeah. So we had a great time. Thank you.
All right, so how many of your families own grocery stores? Raise your hand.
All grocery stores.
How important was your faith growing up? Because I know my mother had told me that how faithful her parents were. And I remember my yaya used to stay with me in my bedroom. She would do her prayers and I'd watch her. She thought I was sleeping, but I'd watch her pray. And she would do her prostrations. And I thought, wow, I don't get how tired she is. She's praying. And my grandfather, whom I never met, his Bible is on the table over there. It's actually written in Greek letters, but it's Turkish words. And my mom would say that as soon as he would finish reading the Bible, he'd go back to the first page and start again. How important was your faith in your family? What did you see your parents, what did you witness your parents doing, and how did they instill that in all of you?
What's the question?
About your faith, how your parents displayed their faith and showed you, and how were they an example to you? And your love of the church and your love of God.
Made me go to Greek school.
Never missed church, ever. I remember one.
Hold it too.
I remember one snowstorm we had, and we went to church on Mariva, and there was a hill, and it was icy, and we couldn't get up the hill or down the hill, but my dad made sure we got to church. That was that, you know.
Well, as you know by now, my father was a Psalti, and so it goes without saying, we were in church every Sunday. And what he would say to us, you stayed out all night, not my problem, it's your problem. You're going to go to church.
No, the church was the foremost thing in our house, and my father, well, I don't remember my grandfather serving. I was a little too young, but that was highly discussed all the time. And I remember Holy Week. There was not a service we missed, and I was just a kid. I remember 5, 6, 7 years old. Every night of Holy Week and all the services we had been to, and you know, it was instilled in me. And then eventually I I started teaching Sunday school, but eventually the highlight of my church career became being the organist for about 40 years. So,
Has it been 49?
I think it was close to that. Right, even Marie?
Well, my sister she told, religion was the foremost thing in our home. I remember my stepmother had a cimeado go through the house. My stepmother did not speak Greek too well, but she spoke Turkish very well, and she mixed the languages. So when people asked, well, what language do you speak? I'd look at them and I'd say, well, my mother talks Turkish, I'm talking Greek. And they just look at me, well, why is that? And I said, we understand each other. We know what we're saying, believe me. But she read the Bible, like she said, it was written in Greek, but Turkish Turkish.
Turkish words, yeah.
And she would sit there and read the Bible on holy days. And I'm embarrassed to say I don't do that. But I know a lot about the Bible, but not enough. I can always learn. And holy days, like my sister said, my dad would say, you want to go to a football game? You're going to church first. Then you go to the football game. We grew up, everything evolved around the church. That was our social life. And I guess we're trying to do the same thing now, and we can't. People just don't do it anymore. So.
Well, I beg to differ with you, sis. Because look at how many people are still here. They should go home. You've been in church all morning long. Go home. But they don't go home. They want to continue their
We go to
Padea,
Kirby's, yeah.
and they go to the restaurants. Kirby's.
You can't. No. Yeah, they're here because our church is that way. It's everybody. We all get together and we enjoy each other's company.
Yes, that's what I mean.
I think that's great. You tell that to people, and they just look at you. You mean you go to church and you end up staying there? Yes. All day. Oh, sorry.
Anything about how you grew up as a child, your faith, and how important it was to you and your family?
Well, one of the things I certainly remember is my mother read the Bible every day in Greek, every day. And she came to church every Sunday. Of course, she dragged me along too. I wanted to come, but in one way I didn't want to come because I wanted to play with my friends in the neighborhood. But she was very, very faithful to church, very faithful.
Were you all altar boys? Your
I
brothers?
was an altar boy along with my younger brother. And we had a good time there too.
They had a lot of fun in the altar.
The altar was different then, yes. When we weren't doing stuff to carry the candles or hold them, we had to stand next to the altar. We weren't allowed to walk around and fool around in the back.
Oh, no.
Who says that's what they're doing now?
So let's talk about your language. How many of you spoke Turkish as a first language? Raise your hand.
I understood it. I didn't speak
You
it.
spoke Turkish. Anyone else here? Where Turkish was your first language? What about Greek?
I understand.
Greek?
Greek was your first language? Yeah. But you know some Turkish. You know some Turkish words, I would imagine.
Well,
I can
I
understand.
understand it. I
Swear
don't
words.
speak it. My stepmother used to say to me, she'd say, don't talk Turkish. I don't understand you. talk Greek. I understand that better.
What did she call a car?
Huh?
What did she call a car?
A car?
A carro.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a carro?
Carro. Yeah.
Yeah. When you told her autoginito, no, she goes, no, that's not autoginito.
No, you know what she did? She'd say to me, well, today we're going to wash the windows. I mean, she would say this to me in Greek. And I said, windows? What are windows? She said, we're going to wash the windows. I said, no, Ma, it's paratiro. She looked at me, she said, where'd you learn that? She said, window. She had her own language, what can I say? But that's the way I learned, I mean. And one thing I want to say, and it doesn't concern what we're talking about, it's when I went to school, I was treated horribly. There was a teacher that called me an immigrant. Go sit down. Don't do this, don't do that. I go to her for help. I couldn't get help from her. Finally, one of my teachers realized what she was doing to me. And so she took me to her classroom. I was always embarrassed of the way she would treat me. I wish she were around now so I could show her what I have become. But I overcame it. I'm doing good. I did good, I should say. But today, that's why I respect the teachers that teach the children today. They teach them so differently, and I think it's a good thing. So,
Well, I was told to go home and change my name.
oh, that's right, that's right.
What was her name?
Yeah,
What was your name?
yeah.
Masula.
But that was my memory of school. I did not enjoy it. I loved school. I loved learning.
I went to private school.
I did not enjoy it.
What? You went to private school?
She was older,
I did
though.
not.
That was when she was older.
You went to the Catholic school.
That was my last 2 years.
The Catholic school.
Yeah, I ended up in a Catholic school. And because they didn't have all the classes that I had taken already in school, I had to take their religious class. My dad went to the priest. Well, he knew the priest. They were good friends. And he told him, he said, I'll let her come to your school. He said, but one thing you have to promise me. Do not try to change her religion. She is Greek Orthodox, she'll remain. So the priest, he says, okay, John, I won't try. But I was in the class. And whenever they taught the religion class, he would say, he was teaching what that goes on during the service, the liturgy. And so he would talk about Kyrie eleison. I said, that's not Latin, that's Greek. Because he'd look at me and he'd say, isn't that right, Sophie? Yeah, it's Greek, it's not Latin.
There you go.
So he always corrected me or I corrected him. But it was fun.
Does anyone else want to share anything about growing up in school, being in school and a language barrier and things like that? Anything you want to share?
No? Well, this has nothing to do with anything, I guess.
When I was in school, his dad was absolved. And I told you this on the phone one day. He went to a cemetery because a friend died, and there were like 5 or 10 men around there. And they said, well, let's see how much you loved him. Put down money. And they all, you may have heard this. They all threw down money, and this guy picks up all the money and leaves the check.
No, I'll tell you this.
Where we were buried, it was at Oak Hill Cemetery.
Yeah.
And where we were buried, there was the old side and the new side. And on the old side, Father Sam, he was laughing. He goes, you Greeks are stupid. He goes, they put you in this part here because it was not a good part to be in. And we were proud that we had our own space. Yeah. And even then they were discriminatory.
Does anyone else want to add anything to that?
We could go on all
Okay,
day.
go on. How many of you were married in the church? And tell us a little bit about your marriage.
I was married in this church. Father Harmon, I think, married me.
And how did
60 years.
How did you meet your husband?
When I worked.
Oh, you met your husband.
Yeah, when I worked, he'd come in there. I worked in the grocery store, and he'd come in, and I started waiting on him, and we got to be friends.
And I think you and my mom double dated once.
I think we did. We all three did.
Tell us about how you met your husband, and yours was a non-Semendrian Greek.
His mother didn't like me very much.
His mother didn't like you?
No.
But how did you meet? You met through church.
Well, first I want to say, before this ends, that this church is made up of so many pantels. And Sophie here is my niece.
Sophie, Markel.
And
It's okay.
and my niece over there, Marlene.
Yeah, is your niece?
Is my niece.
Yeah. You got a lot of nieces.
Yeah, Connie here.
Connie.
And Connie's here.
Connie.
And that's
George.
Great niece.
Right here.
Melissa.
Yeah. Well, the church consisted of pantels and citizens.
And you all married one another.
Not quite that.
Not quite.
No, not quite.
Close.
Okay, but did the Semendrian Greeks call the other Greeks what? There was a name. They called them Getchi Greeks. Getchi Greeks. Yep, they were the other Greeks.
Don't start trouble.
Start trouble. Okay, go ahead and pass it.
No.
How you met your husband? Did you get married at St. George?
No, I got married at the Serbian church I was supposed to get married at St. George. My dad came in the week before I was going to get married, and he said, didn't work. So I got married in Serbia. But I met my husband at church, at a Russian Orthodox church that was burning their mortgage. And there he was.
I was married to St. George. Father Sam married me. And he was Greek, not Semendrian.
No, that's okay. I married a non-Semendrian too, but he was from Detroit. But I met him.
Your father.
Oh my, the way I met him. My dad, of course, had a grocery store, and I was the main cashier at the grocery store, and I was busy. They were lined up, and I was busy. And my dad walks in with this young man, and I look at him, and I'm shaking my head to my dad, what's going on? He says, Nick, I want you to meet my daughter. She's been dying to meet you. And that I was so embarrassed. I said, Dad, how could you do that to me? But I ended up marrying him, and his father was also a Santi. So that's why my Nicholas sings in the choir and has a great voice.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Nothing to say, Jim?
Those days are gone.
I got married to my wife, who was Greek, but not a Semendrian. We got married at St. Nick's Church in Detroit.
Yeah.
And one of the things I neglected to say earlier, my 2 sisters and 2 brothers and I and my parents, we lived in a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
And we survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, with quite
Back then, you only took a bath once a week. That was on Saturdays.
Actually, now that we're on the subject, why don't you tell us about what your home life was like and what you did at home? You just mentioned something, but let's hear
Well,
it.
keep in mind, my oldest sister was 11 years older than me. So when I was born and started kindergarten, she was married. So she was moving out, and my other sister was 2 years younger than my older sister, and my brother was 2 years younger than her. So I came along 6 years later, and my younger brother 4 years after that. So we had to get along. Otherwise, we were in trouble.
Tell us a little bit more about your home life.
Home life, well, again, I relied mostly on my friends, because during the summer, you'd get up in the morning and you'd go out and you'd be gone all day until the streetlights came on, and then you had to come home. And there was no problems of staying out late like that. There was nothing to worry about.
It was safe.
But it was safe, yes.
Tell about your grocery store, though.
Yeah,
How
tell
Well,
us
the
what you
grocery
connected.
store, the 5 of us, we took our turns working in the store. It was a neighborhood grocery store. And during the 40s and early 50s, it was the only stores in the neighborhood until the supermarket started coming along. And my dad still had the store, but it became like a party store where you bought bread and beer and wine and just a few essential items.
Yeah.
Not like it was when it was first started.
And did you work in the store?
Oh yes, like I said, we all took our turns.
What was your job?
I was doing everything. I was there by myself.
That's right.
So I was
What was the
stocking
name
this-
of your store?
Heron Gardens Market.
What was it?
Heron Gardens Market.
Okay.
But tell how it was connected to your house. So it
And,
was all-
well, that's the other thing, yeah. I was born in Detroit, but in 1941, we moved to Waterford. And my dad had a grocery store that was on the corner of Josephine and Myrtle, and the store was connected to the house. So you went down into the basement of the house, and you were in the back room of the store. So it was very close. Different, yes.
Here, Jimmy, tell
Tell us about your childhood, your
Yeah.
home life.
Oh, no, we don't want to go
what
through
did your
that.
What did your dad do? What did
What
your
was
dad
what
do?
did your dad do for a living?
It was a grocery store.
Yeah, he had a grocery store.
Well, I'll tell you about my dad. When he came here to America we came here for the first time when he came to America. He worked for DuPont. And then from there, he went to Ann Arbor, and he heard about the Semendrians, so he came here to Pontiac. And he stayed with a lot of people that he knew. Then he stayed with Rollis, Nick Rollis, and the guy. They got in a house, and they rented it out, and they were doing good. My dad worked for Wilson Foundry. He got laid off quite a while, and he went into the grocery business. Yep.
What was the name of your store?
Delmo's. Delmo's Grocery.
Where
It
was
sounded
it?
like Delanor's, so it was Delmo's.
Where was the store?
And Fisher Street in Pontiac. off of Franklin.
And did you work in the store?
Sure, that's all we did.
That's all you did. When you weren't at the church. When you weren't at the church, you were in the
At the
store.
store. We were bottle boys.
You were bottle boys.
They'd bring the bottles in, they'd fill up on the refrigerator. We'd have to take care of it all. Yep, it was a house store is what it was.
So you lived in this.
My dad was bankrupt. He bankrupted himself is what happened. He lost 2 homes. Yep. And he made good of himself, and then he opened up the Drayton Beer Store on Dixie Highway. Well, he bought it because he says the money's going out. We gotta go somewhere. So he bought that store, and that's what he ran. Yep, that's about it. Pass it on.
Well, my whole life was typical of any Greek home. I mean, you kept it clean, you helped make the food, and you worked in the grocery store. Now, my father had 2 daughters and the son, but he was the baby. So the 2 daughters were the ones that worked in the grocery store, and you did everything, like Ernie said. I mean, you put the bottles away, you put the pop in the refrigerator. You did all this work that the girls today, I'm sure, would never want to do, but we did it. It was our life besides church. And you went to church. I mean, home life, it was full of homework. Well, for me, I had to do a lot of practicing. But
She was a favorite child.
it was okay. We lost our mother when we were young. And I don't know. I don't want to say anymore.
Okay.
I was the youngest of 3, so I had a really pretty good life because I was the spoiled one.
A privileged
And
life.
I did not choose to work in the grocery store, and therefore I did not. Actually, I would have been a liability because I would eat all the candy when I went there. But so I got away with that, and it was fun. I had a good childhood because, and my mother, she was pretty strict with me. My dad was easygoing,
Your house.
so I got away with that. But she was after me all the time.
Corner there, yeah.
My dad had
So
the
we, but I had a good
I
life.
never knew that.
I didn't either.
I found out after when
I worked in the grocery store, yeah. My sister was correct in
later,
that
about 19.
assumption, with that we all worked equally. And when my brother
Do you remember that last
came along, he didn't work in the grocery store.
Yeah, vaguely.
He went to U of M.
That was work.
And we didn't go because you were a girl. You didn't, what were you gonna, my dad used to say to me, what do you want to be, a teacher? And I said, I don't really think I want to be a teacher. And he goes, a nurse, a doctor, what do you want to be? And I said, I just want to go to college. I was accepted. I had my room picked out and everything, but at last minute, I couldn't go. I just couldn't, I couldn't go myself, I couldn't go. And not that my dad wouldn't send me, but the thought of sharing a room with a complete stranger, oh, I could not do that. Could not do that. So anyway, enough about us.
No, we want to hear about, did you work in the grocery store? Tell us about.
Oh, I did.
But what you did, what were your jobs?
We all did, honey.
You did everything. Okay.
Yeah, we did everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah, we did everything, absolutely.
Well, I was the youngest of 5 children, And so I got the dirty jobs at the store. I had to put the bottles in the cases, and at that time you had to count eggs out.
Yes.
And put them in a little brown bag.
Yep.
And do a dozen. That was my job. Everything that was kind of dirty.
And your older sister was 6 years old, right? And she ran the store.
Yeah, my oldest sister ran the store. She'd stand on the 7-Up case. And then she was the cashier. She did.
And you had a superstore, right?
Yeah. And our store was attached to our house, and my dad built the store and the house. And we used to have a butcher at the store. And when my dad built the house, there was a little hole like this from the house to the store. And we had a butcher, and my mother would put, every morning when he came to work, she'd put a little ouzo in a thing like this and pass it through the window.
That's funny. So, did you show movies at your grocery store?
Yeah.
You showed movies?
Movies of what?
Like a drive-in?
You know what? Before drive-ins were popular, my dad, we had this whole field that he owned. And so on Saturday nights, we'd have, it was free, and they would show movies outdoors.
The circus would come. The head of the time.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Where was your dad's store? Where was
Where
your
was
store?
it?
On
The
Baldwin.
store. On Baldwin Avenue?
Mhm.
What was the name of it?
Retail supermarket.
Tell us. Tell us about your...
We had a store
My
before I was born.
My dad wasn't that fortunate. He worked at Wilson Foundry, and when he worked there, he was working piecework and not very much money. And then when my brothers got a little bit older, then he got a grocery store. Then they went in the grocery store business. But my dad had a rough life when he first come here.
And what was the name of your grocery store?
What was it? Cityside Market.
Yep.
Cityside
And where
Market.
was it located?
It was on Joslin, right on Joslin. And that was it. Growing up, I had a rough life. They didn't have much money, but we had our church and our faith, and that's what counted.
That's right, exactly.
So tell us a little bit about your parents, what they were like, and tell about your parents. I'd like to hear just something about your parents.
You started.
You started. I don't know.
Your parents. Think about your parents. Tell us about your mom and dad. Quickly, something. Yeah, about your mom. Just quickly, something about your mother and father. Tell us.
Peggy remembers all these things that you tell her.
No.
Tell us.
Which one do I tell? My dad was married twice. His first wife died. And
From the first.
the first, and Melissa and Connie.
They're from the first group.
He was left with 5 children. One of her grandmother was one. And
Then he married your mom and had 5 more.
He went to the village and married your mother
went to the village.
to find
And,
his wife.
my father then married my mother and had 5 more children. So we were quite a large family. Yeah.
Do you want to pass the mic?
Peggy.
Something about your parents. No?
Yeah, my parents, it was an arranged marriage. And my father, first, like she said, my father was married first, and she passed away. And she was related to one of their family members.
Yeah, that's right.
And, yeah, I think Bessie.
Yeah.
Anyway, then he proceeded to get involved. They arranged the marriage, but my mother was not in Greece at that time or Turkey anymore. She was in Cuba. So he traveled down. That's another story. So he traveled to Cuba and married my mother. They traveled up here, and that was that. They had a good marriage.
Well, our mother died when we were young. She was only
36.
5 or 6 years old.
I was only
I was 11. And my mother's cousin came to take care of her when she was ill. She had cancer. And so after my mother died, she stayed on for a while. My dad would say, I haven't got anybody to take care of the children. Please stay. Well, she stayed, they got married, and she was a good stepmother. If it hadn't been for her, I don't know if we would have continued the way we did. So involved in the church and everything. She was good that way. And we grew up. She kept the house clean. She cooked. I mean, we helped too, but it was like Elisa said, it was it Elisa or it was an arranged marriage, and it worked out. It worked out for the best. So my dad was he was like an entertainer. Whenever we had parties, he would sing, he would dance.
I remember the dancing.
And
I can say that was true.
yeah, he was an entertainer. He
Had a good time at the dance.
did. He always had a good time.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, I think I've gone over some of this stuff already, but my dad came to this country sponsored by his 2 brothers in 1920 and worked for his older brother for 20 years in a restaurant. He was doing everything, busboy, mopping floors, cooking, serving, and he went back in 1928 and got married, had 2 kids at that time, 3 kids actually at that time. They were born in the 1929, 31, and 33. And he came and got the grocery store, and he worked there 7 days a week, from during the week from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 at night, Monday through Saturday, and on Sundays he worked from 10 till 4 o'clock. So he was busy, and like I said before, the 5 of us took turns giving him a break in the afternoon after school, so he could come walk through the basement into the house and have a cup of coffee, and then he came back to close up.
How did they meet?
They met that Gus Nicholas's father had his niece that was single, and when he went back to get married, he didn't meet her until he did go back. And she was 19 and my dad was 24. But Gus's father, Eliad Nicholas, introduced him.
Nice.
All right, so I think we're going to be wrapping up here, but I wanted to ask each of you some advice that you would have for the younger members here at St. George, or anything that you'd like to, something like a wish or anything like that, or just anything that you'd like to say in closing.
Well, let's start here. We'll start here. Any advice for
Just-
St. George?
Just be faithful to your friends and to the church, and take care of yourselves, and never forget how you were brought up. And you among all the other people that are here that are 1st or 2nd generation, I always said about myself, and I think the others too, that we were the luckiest people in the world that our parents came here.
Any advice or anything? Any wishes for St. George?
Any wishes?
Any advice or anything you'd like to say in closing?
What can you advise? Ernie said it.
That's right, he pretty much did.
But I think we have a pretty good congregation. I don't think we should expect a the church to do everything for us. It's up to us to keep the church going and to follow and to help the church. I mean, this is our life. We are lucky that we are Orthodox. I went to a Catholic school, but they're so similar to our religion that's the only other church that has a similarity as far as I could tell. Except one time, my husband and I he was the best man at this wedding of the young man that worked for us, but his wedding was in Wisconsin, and it was a Lutheran, I think it was a Lutheran wedding. I could almost follow the whole wedding because honestly, most of that wedding was similar to an Orthodox wedding. The only thing they didn't do, they didn't have the Stephana and walking around the table, but everything else seemed to be the same. So just be true to yourself and to the church.
I guess we can repeat that. Yeah, the church, I think as you grow older, you realize how much your life is focused on the church, and you continue to learn no matter what. And I feel as you're fortunate to have been here at St. George all my life.
Every time I come to church and the bishop is here, I think these people had big dreams, but do they have that kind of a dream? This beautiful church, and the bishop comes there. I don't think they could foresee that. I think about that when I see the bishop.
I don't go to this church.
Okay.
Well, we really enjoyed these stories. It's been just really wonderful. I know that we have some of the younger Semendrians here, the offspring, and at this time I'd like to call them up if there are any. So here, and just stand behind our guest here. Marlene, we can have all of the offspring of the Semendrians stand behind them. And I know that some of you were here today that your parents weren't here. Maybe there's something that you'd like to add? Is there anything I should ask? No, they said it all, right? They said it all. Okay. Maybe you could introduce yourself and tell us your parents' name.
My name now is Marlene Centeno, but my parents were Connie and Paul Serafides, part of the Pentel family. And I grew up remembering my yaya always doing her prayers and her vows and her rituals, which was very impressed upon me. But I really never grew up in the church because we lived in California. But I always would come visit my yaya in the summer, and she was very impressionable upon me, and I just loved my family so much. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Joanna Yakovich. My mom is Skula, my aunt is Sophia, and much like them, we grew up in the church, or the church was our social life. We didn't really have much of a social life outside of it, and I think that's why we're here today.
I'm her sibling, Zachary Oxford, so I was in the school as my mom and Sophie's my aunt. Like you said, we grew up in the church, so that was our life. So.
My name is George Cantor. My mother was Lucia Samuelidis Cantor. Her parents were born in Semendrian, Turkey, and then she was the first born in the new Semendrian. So then she came here and got married and tried to party store and came to on Moraga Street, and she came over here.
Hello, I'm Stephen Christie. My parents are Philip N. and Kathleen S. Christie, and my father was a Rhodian descent of ancestry, and my mother is a Semendrian. So thank you very much.
My name is Melina Pardalis, and my mom is Melissa Pardalis. My father is Paul Pardalis, and my mom will give you the rest of our tree.
I'm Melissa Pardalis, and I think Connie and Connie, right? We're probably related to almost everybody here. Maybe a few, but either from my mother's side. So my father was Sam Savis, Uncle Ernie's brother, and my mom was Theodora Garriott, who was a Pantel, was related to the ladies on this end. So, more ladies on the other end. So, between the two, the Savises and the Pantels, a lot of this family got married to this family, right? There we have all these cousins. So. And I'm married to Paul Pardalis. They're not Semendrians, but they're still good.
I'm Connie Sisson, and my mom and dad are Cassie Savis and Antel Pantelides, Thea Shirley, and brother. So we are related to everyone up here.
I'm Eva Marie Rotaw, so Martha Savis Davis, the second oldest, Uncle Ernie's sister. And my mother was the first one to marry a non-Greek. Penny Davis, who was the best.
What? Can I just say one other thing? One other thing I wanted to say, your parents and my yaya and papu, right? So your parents, is it John? Yep. Your dad? John.
Despina, yeah.
And Despina Yacovidis. My yaya, Pantelides, Francis Garriott, married my papu in their house,
That's
right?
right.
He was 29 or 30, I think he was 30, and she was 16.
Oh my
And your mom was the nuna to all of their children.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
That's right.
And she was a great, wonderful woman to my yaya. I know.
She was.
If you want to say anything more about that.
That's enough.
All right. I thought that was a good story.
Photo.
Hi, Peggy Callias, daughter of Shirley Pantelides Callias, and my father, John Callias. And yeah, so we are very fortunate to be part of this church, and we feel we have this beautiful treasure of Dave and our church. And today we want to also again thank Dana Nicholas because she put together just a beautiful exhibit in our library. So hopefully if you haven't had a chance to view it, I would recommend you go and look at what she has prepared for us. It's amazing, it's not quite complete. But we also have a few of the foods from our area. We've got some sujo, the pastuma, and thanks to your attention. So with that, we have some lukunya and halwa and some things like that. But we have a display the costume from our village, as well as some spoons. Our parents danced with spoons. That was the tradition. And so we thank you all so much for being here today to listen to our stories. We've heard some really beautiful memories today of St. George and of our Semendrian families. And I hope you were as delighted as I was to listen to all of these lovely stories. And if there's anyone who would like to add anything, I'll pass the mic. No? All right, well, thank you all. Oh, we have another story.
But I just would like to thank Peggy and Shirley for putting this